Don't stop
Would you?
shifting the burden to an institution, organization, or group of people. If you're going to shift the burden, you're going to have to take up your conception of God. What is your claim?
I'm saying what would make a person go to hell?
Being separated from the grace of God or rejecting the grace.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
dude, did you
all
not
right.
Yeah.
hear me like reiterate
So,
this for you for like 3 or 4 times? Already
well,
anticipating the
listen,
only way
listen,
you could try
guy,
to reason your way out of this?
listen,
We'll
guy. I
go
just
over it
got
one
here,
more time, okay?
so I'm
You,
telling you,
so you're saying
I'm
that
not
right.
rejecting the grace
You're
of
right,
God.
but you're stuck in a paradox because you're just begging the question over and over again. And I
Of what?
understand how
What?
difficult it could be, Mike. But right, what you're saying is that, well, if someone could go to hell, right, and they're judged by God, you asked who judges someone to go to hell, and then we were like God, right, and you're like, okay,
Right.
well then once someone is judged to go to hell because they reject, God, so to speak, then so when they convert, you know what I mean, they can come back to God, right? That's not a valid argument. It's not a sound argument because it's not you're no longer have access to good in the way that you would if you were still alive. You're dead. You don't have access to creation anymore. So if at that moment even after your death you're choosing no longer to cooperate with God, then you have no access to the good for all of infinity after that point. Does that
So
make sense?
what I'm getting at is like from my perception personally, I
Yeah,
believe in God.
according to your intuition, continue.
Right. Well, how else would I know God?
Okay, so your question is based on your personal experience, how else would you know God?
Yes.
The external world, the
Right.
world in which we live and breathe,
Viewed
the
through
world in
my
which we have to
intuition.
go out and hunt
Right.
food to eat, or else
Viewed
we're gonna die.
viewed through
In
my
that
intuition.
world, in
Right.
that world, we can know God.
And we do.
Like,
So,
Mike, you realize that there are other external principles in the world that affect us and confront us, and that if we don't judge it to be so and interact it, we're just gonna die.
right, if you don't have a fire in a snowstorm, you will
No,
freeze to
it's
death.
more basic and simple than that, Mike. If you gotta go pee and you're like, and you feel it coming out, and you're just like, no, I feel it, but I don't believe it, and you just keep squeezing and squeezing your penis shut, and you don't take a piss, guess what happens? Your bladder fucking explodes and you get infected and then you
All
die,
right. Yeah. Okay.
right? We know
So
this
you're saying
scientifically.
you're saying that's
Get realistic. Come
a
on.
lack of God.
What's that?
You're saying that that experience is a lack of God.
No. Well, how about this? After repeated instances where I not only piss, poop, sleep, eat, and do that cycle over and over again,
I'm sorry
right?
about that,
Through
man.
that process of knowing that world, even in that primitive sense, I can probably go, hey, like maybe I'm not in control of everything. Maybe there is a God. It could be as fucking simple as that, man.
Hold on a second. So you're saying that the excretions that you biologically produce, if you ignore them and somehow you die, that means that God is in charge of that?
I don't think you're understanding the rationale.
Yeah, I'm not.
All right.
He used that example to demonstrate a principle.
Give me the principle.
Well, that was what the
That
example
there
was
are
for.
that there are quote unquote things that are
Right.
real, right? Because your original question was about how you perceive the world and how one could perceive God. That's the original question, right?
Okay.
Is
Yeah, for
that
sure.
there are certain things, right, that you perceive of that are not
Yeah.
of your perceptions and are actually real in the world,
Okay, hold on a second. What do
including
you
the
mean?
fact
What do you
that you
mean?
actually have to piss.
So that is a real perception that I
So think
have
about
in the
it.
world.
This could lead someone upon self reflection, if they had a textured brain, to go,
Nope.
oh, well, it
Nope.
looks like I was designed in a particular way to function.
If
And
you
if I
think that
don't, hold on, and if
if
I
you
don't
well, you're
behave
if you
in
think
a
this is
normative way,
disgusting.
If I don't act in a normative way in order to address certain realities about the world and be in conformity with it, then this could lead to not good outcomes.
Well, if you're
And
talking
hey,
about
look, the world
social
is so
norm,
diverse. It's so diverse and
but I think
varied
what you're talking
that
about is
not
so
only not
ridiculous
only
that
it could it be a
you
matter
are
of
you
necessity,
are
I live
ridiculous.
in a world because of its diversity where I could choose from one alternative to another.
Yeah, I
Right. And
think
so
you're
through
just
that self-reflective
I think
activity, which
you are
classic metaphysics
you don't
calls
have
the
any sense.
intellect, Mike, I'm doing it for you. Classical
You're
metaphysics,
not
that is
doing it.
called the intellect, right? I'm able to establish that I have a principle of free will. If I have a free will based on my assumption that the external world is actually real, then there could have been a cause for it outside of my perceptions.
I mean, I think most people know that there's an idea that there could be cause for things. What you're talking about is that if you want to hold your piss and shit in, that that's somehow not regulated to your own personal purview. I think you're retarded, and I think you don't have any understanding
if
of
if
life.
I if you believe if you okay, so Mike, now you're committed to the view that your perception of having to piss or not is just a privation and it isn't something outside of you that is affecting or imposing itself on you.
Yes, my opinion, if I have to piss or shit, is inside of myself. Yes. What's your argument that it's not?
You're a moron. That's my opinion.
Oh, nice argument.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you just said the same thing. So
Well, I
let's
mean,
not be hypocritical here.
what are you talking about? Do you not think that the ability to piss and shit is inbuilt in with you? What are you
Um,
talking about?
that's not what I said. I was addressing how he called you an idiot, and you were surprised by this, even though you just said it less than a minute ago.
Okay, I think he is an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I believe it.
Never doubted you.
Okay, well, maybe he's just an idiot. He seems to have gone to the loo, but I think he was arguing with me that like somehow the innate ability to pee and poop was not innate in your physiological being. And can I get this right? Is that was he was arguing against me about this?
Yep. Nope. Well, here, I'll put it to you like this. No one's obligated to understand your position for you.
But like you believe that your ability to pee and poop is something outside yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Explain yourself, please, because this is fucking hilarious.
Well, it would be like an exercising of the will. An exercising of the will is not uh, a physical process. I mean, it's part of the immaterial body. So,
Okay, well, I understand that we're not just physical bodies, but I'm saying if you don't think that you have control over your excrement, who has control over your ability to
So
poop
so
and
so
pee?
so that that's the thing. You might have like a
Abismal.
relative when it comes to things like pooping and peeing, you might have like a relative quote unquote control like you're trying to like you see that's the thing is all you have are intuitive categories, right? You don't have an actual systematic or scientific way to try to derive how we
What?
can know that we actually have to go to poop or not, right?
What are you
You're still
talking
stuck
about?
in right trying to come to terms with whether or not pooping or peeing is real. But that's
Is it
your problem,
real?
Mike. That's not anybody else's
Okay,
problem.
hold on.
So you're just shifting,
Let me backtrack.
you're trying
Abysmal.
to, in a
Abysmal.
very naive
Is
way,
it
trying to
is,
shift the
is
burden of
no,
whether or not one
I'll
should believe that one
esoterically
has to
talk to you
poop or
about
pee
this. I'll
is a matter
esoterically
of, hold on, is a
right,
matter of the intuition or if it's a
right,
matter of the intellect, right? And
right.
that's a false dichotomy.
We'll talk to you about this,
So
Abysmal.
right, but
So
you're thinking yourself into
Abysmal,
another performative
do
contradiction.
you poop? Abysmal, do you poop or do you go pee? Do you
Yeah, and
urinate?
so the claim is the urge, right, to poop or pee is something that acts on me external to myself.
You think that the urge to poop and pee is an external urge?
Correct. It's external to my own perceptions of whether or not I have to go poop or pee.
Wow, that's an insane. I understand why you feel
No,
that
it's
way, but
it's it's not
I
that
think
this
it's
is it's
so
not insane
insane.
at all. That's cognitively true, which leads me to question, right, what your cognitive state is. It seems like your cognitive state comes from more of or excuse me, less of a textured brain than mine perhaps,
Maybe
which is
yeah,
why I
maybe,
believe that you actually might be a moron.
okay, yeah, that's fine. So you have an ability. So you believe that when you have an urge to pee, that there's some outside force giving you the urge to pee.
Correct. Independent
Correct.
of whether independent, Mike, of whether I perceive it to be the case or not.
Okay, all right.
I
So
don't trust my perceptions, right? I don't have to question my perceptions of it,
all right,
right? I
you
don't
don't
have to
you don't.
establish that I truly am perceiving it to be the case. No,
Okay,
it imposes itself upon me as I perceive it, and then I have to act on it.
yeah, you have to act on it definitely. I'm just I'm flabbergasted actually because I never even thought that somebody would uh not take responsibility for the fact that they have to poop and pee.
I know, flabbergasted as well. That seems to be your problem.
I don't even know if you know what that saying means, and I think that it's so funny.
Yeah, no,
And
I'm
you
pretty
must be
dumbfounded. I'm pretty
you must be like
dumbfounded
you must be
that
like
you don't
20
know, you
years
don't
old.
have a way, right, of recognizing that you actually have to poop and pee.
What? When did I
You're
ever?
still stuck doubting whether or not something is telling you to go poop or pee.
No, I have the ability to believe that I have to poop or pee,
So
not
we're gonna
somebody
go
else.
back we're gonna go back to an exercise that we've already went over in prior conversations between me and you, Mike. Do you believe that the facts should conform to your belief or that the belief should conform to your facts?
Man, I think that this is the funniest thing I've ever heard. And I get it. I get the perception, but I'm just like, wow, it's so profound to me.
Yeah, it's just an appeal to incredulity.
No,
I
I'm not offended
understand
by
how it must be amazing to you if you want to preserve your skepticism. But that's not an argument,
well,
and that's
hold
not a
on.
position.
Hold on. I'll humor you. It's funny to me. So when you believe that you have to pee, you believe there's an outside force telling you to pee.
Correct. So my
Okay.
belief is conformed by the facts.
Right, and it
hmm
conforms to the facts.
I
So
don't
you
I don't right, yeah.
Yeah, and so when you feel like you have to have a shit, you feel like an outside evidence is giving you idea
Yeah,
that you have
then
to
I
take a
come
shit.
to grow in knowledge of what it feels like to go to shit.
Right. Okay.
And
So who is
that's actual real not tangible knowledge about the external world.
yeah, but what is
Because if
the
I don't do it, I'm gonna
yeah,
die.
well, I don't know if you die, but but what is this external world? Who is in charge of this external world?
Hey, now you're starting to get it, right? Now you're
You,
starting to get
okay.
it.
Oh, so
Exact precisely. Who is
you're
it?
just like a third
Yeah,
person,
who
like
is it? Who is it, Mike?
so
Who could it be?
so
It's
you
clearly not you, right?
so you're just like a autist that like
Wait,
has
is it
weird
you? Is it
ideas.
you, Mike? Now do
I
you
don't
see
know.
the conundrum?
No, there's no conundrum. Like when your body
Yeah, then you're just not a
has
serious
to
person. That's the
take a
problem.
shit.
No one takes you seriously, Mike, because you can't take yourself seriously.
Well, I think that you're probably mentally ill and you don't really understand your body.
Yeah, you're just shifting the burden.
I mean, unless
We're
you're
we're
just
we're we're
moral.
talking about the way that you perceive the world. We're not talking about the way that I perceive the world. So stop shifting the burden.
I'm actually.
Why would the way that you perceive the world depend on how I perceive the world? Why? Why?
That's a good question. It actually doesn't, but
Okay.
it's
So
sort of
right. So then
funny.
focus on your own argument.
My argument is that you think that when you take a shit,
Okay.
that
Again, you're doing
it
the
has
same thing though,
nothing to
right?
do with you.
Stop. Right. You're just shifting the burden again. Your argument is in relation to somebody else's argument. So which means that you don't
Well,
actually have right, but you don't have a claim.
well, I don't want to have a claim.
You don't want to have a claim. All right.
No.
So at this point, we've demonstrated. At the end of the day, Mike, you don't want to have a claim, which means that you're not a serious person. So you're bad faith. That's the definition of bad faith. You lost.
Okay.
You lost the
Well,
argument, Mike.
yeah. In your world,
You're just a universal skeptic, man.